green lung, the whole disease that is the motivating factor for a lot of things in this story. That came about as a remnant of the idea of setting this game during the Black Plague. And we came up with the idea of having this green plague, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I think the sort of science behind it that I came up with at first was because in the terminal phase, it was going to make the people's lungs glow green. And like I had this really cool idea of the image of people with these just glowing green lungs that you could see through their clothes and stuff because they were like basically radioactive. But we figured out pretty early on that was physically impossible because how would a disease make your lungs glow green? So we cut that, but...
Yeah, the physics of it were really impractical. I think you came up with the idea of it being glowing green after you'd seen some of my initial art with the sort of glowing green shards, and were like, oh, the radiation does it, but the way radiation glass works and the idea behind it is not conducive at all to those two being sort of... And I know even Dave at one point was like, oh, make it so the shards are making people sick, and I'm like, that's...
Yeah.
It doesn't quite work well enough.
Yeah.
It's not solid enough to be the basis of a plague.
Yeah. Plus,
So
I didn't like the idea of the shards being what made the people sick, because that kind of made the whole world be like this horribly... I mean, it is a horribly oppressive place anyway, but the one thing that makes it look cool, I didn't want that to be a negative. So, yeah. There's concept art of what I thought Green Lung would look like, and I think I wanted to have a plot... When that was still a thing, I wanted to have a plot point where you had to, like, disguise the fact that you had green lung by wearing a leather vest or something ridiculous.
Now you have
like
to do
that.
the opposite.
Yeah, no, you do have to do the opposite, so... Funny
But
how
yes,
that worked out.
but the whole... It just never really worked. It never really worked well in my mind, having these glowing green sickness things. It feels a bit too Fallout with the ghouls, and, like...
Yeah.
Just this... I mean, you can get away with a lot in fiction, but we did try and keep a lot of it grounded in science. Not to be like overly technical or like this would actually happen, but like at least we have a rough idea of why this happened.
Yeah, so ultimately there's no real reason now for why it's called green lung, but I guess we never really need to explain that. It's a bad plague, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, well, they cough up the green bile.
If you need a place to hide, you can always come back here.
Can't remember or don't want to remember.
I was doing a job, fixing the reactor. He was down there, crushed, dying.
Amy, you've given me a second chance. I'll do anything to help cure green lung.
It's another way out of the market. It's beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen so many shards in one place like that.
Your optimism's cute, but I'm not going anywhere. Whatever you say.
I'm sure she'll be back next week. You'll see. Let go of me!
So, what'll it be?
We'll talk soon. A shard of uranium glass. The sun's UV rays make it glow green like that. They're the main source of artificial light in the city.